when I look at these never fail me strategies with whole life, navigating me through 2008 and 2009, where everybody I knew declared bankruptcy that was over leveraged in real estate, and I didn't. You know, looking at times where I was able to acquire a business, launch a book, do all these things because I had these policies and have this peace of mind.
Most people here are just trying to build their business, right? Like they're trying to be more productive. They're trying to figure out who are they selling to, how do they communicate better. And so we've been walking through exercises, like really figuring out like, who's your avatar? Like what markets do you want to serve? Who do you solve the most problems with? Where are your most natural alignments? What are your beliefs? How do you, connect more authentically with people? And honestly, my belief, and I know we share, is like, it doesn't really matter so much about the illustrations. It doesn't matter your technical knowledge and ability of the policies and the illustrations and like all the back end stuff. Like that's important to an extent.
As evidenced by my production over the last 20 years being that I don't know that I've shown an illustration.
Not once.
I don't know if I've ever, like maybe the first couple of years I showed illustrations.
Okay. So,
but you see, I couldn't even pull up an illustration.
No, that's true.
I know it's on it, but I don't know where to go get one.
Right. And so that said,
and I'll say how that's the case.
Yeah.
Because what people want more than anything is to be seen and heard. And when you can actually ask them questions that are behind the first question you ask, because you got to realize people have these factors. The first factor is what they will share. And a lot of what they will share is conditioned responses that protect their existing viewpoint, their existing mistakes, and how they want you to see them, because they have a level of embarrassment around their finances. Even successful people know people more successful than them and feel like they should be further along. So there's what they will share. That's not all that important. There's what they won't share. What they won't share comes from embarrassment, and also like, I don't want to say it out loud because then I have to acknowledge it. But if you can create a place where they can be vulnerable and they trust you, and if you can create a place where you ask the question behind the question, if you can ask these additional questions. And what I find is if I share certain things, some people call them a damaging admission. Like I admitted to Chris that I had a VUL when I was 18 years old. So that's a damaging admission. I've told him that I have a premium financed IUL.
You did tell me that. Can you guys believe that, first of all?
I mean, I have 27 whole life policies. So you know what I'm saying? That's a decent portfolio of insurance. And I hope to win this IUL challenge. I know I won't, but I will. But it's going to be fun when we do it live on the 10th anniversary.
That's going to be awesome.
And, but this is the thing. If I open up and I share and I'm part of this, conversation with them, not of like, I'm the authority and I'm the expert and I've got everything figured out, but I'm talking about what my journey was like in my story. People connect to that story and when it's vulnerable. And if it's a place where they know I'll never share that again with another human being, that safety creates that trust, which leads to a place where they'll finally share with you things they won't share with others. When they share things about their life they won't share with others, they're telling you what their fears, inadequacies, insecurities, frustrations are, which is part of the biggest value you can provide because it helps them heal their relationship to money and the situation they're in. If you're too busy talking about benefits and features, like this dude, Curtis, whatever his name
Curtis
was.
Ray.
He's like, let me tell you the features and benefits without telling you the risks. Like that's called fraud. And I said on video, he's going to jail. Mark my words. But this is the problem. Features and benefits have nothing to do with the individual and everything to do with salesmanship. And if we get to a point of where it's talking about features and benefits to try to sell something, we didn't see or hear these people or ask the question behind the question to get to what really matters to them. So they'll share what they will share. You can get to a place of trust where they'll start sharing with you what they won't share anyone else. But this is where the magic exists. What if you can get to them a place where it's a place they couldn't share without you because it was a blind spot that they didn't even see, that you illuminate, that gives them more power for their wealth and life moving forward, which leads to peace of mind, clarity, and confidence. And that's what people really want, peace of mind, clarity, and confidence. They want to lay down next to their significant other and say, we're okay. We're going to be fine. That's what they really want. Yeah, sure, during the day, they want whatever bullshit they see on TV. They want whatever person is lying to them about how much more successful than they are. I promise you, however successful you think I am, I'm probably not that successful. Like I had someone once come up and say, "Are you a billionaire?" And I thought, I'm far from a billionaire. And the fact that you think that shows that when people write a book, they get an irrational amount of credibility. There's too many dumb authors out there that have a book but don't really have anything to say. So I want you to recognize, like, if you can get confidence in your own life and in your story and in your path, and you can invite people into your world, and then you can ask them questions and listen to them and have them feel heard and seen, the illustration will be insignificant. And I can promise you this from years of going through this. And like, I've never once had a conversation about direct versus non-direct with a customer. Right. Now, I haven't sat down with the customer for a long time.
Yeah.
So maybe a different world. But I guarantee now, because I built this authority with what I've created, but then when I'm with them, I can sit down and listen to them.
Yeah.
Like we had this case, I'm getting back in the insurance business. We have this case where the guy came in here. He was going to raise capital for his business, but he has a lot of money. And I'm like, why don't we get out of your American funds? Because they're the most expensive, underperforming, terrible funds in the world. And instead, what if you just had some cash value? And that cash value could finance your business in the future. If you really wanted to finance your business, you have that option.
Sure.
And some attorney came in and said, why are you using whole life and not IUL? And I didn't get on the call. I said to ask her why she let this client be in American funds. And her response was, well, I'm not a financial advisor. I said, great, you're not an insurance advisor either. Let her know that. Like, that's the thing, is I'm confident that she might be amazing at her job.
Yeah.
She's definitely not amazing at insurance.
Yeah.
She wanted to see 100% cash value year one, which I used to see these IULs, and I had one. Mine was one of those with the first 3 years, you have 100% cash, right? Whatever. But I know how those underperform long term, and she's not even understanding the concept of what we're trying to do here. So, so anyway, I just jumped into some stories.
That's amazing. I love that. So let me ask you this, because you are an amazing example, because you haven't sold. I mean, you're starting to get back into that space a little bit more, but I mean, for how long has it been since you sold? A decade?
So I sold from 98 to 2006.
Okay.
One-on-one. And then I've sent referrals and been paid for a long time after that. But I'm 45 years old. I have no renewals. I haven't been in that game,
Whoops.
That was dumb.
Yeah.
But I should have a lot.
Yeah. But
I also left dumb companies like Guardian that wanted me to be captive and, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I get it. But you have built one of the top brands, and you're one of the top trainers, and a lot of people would say you're one of the top authorities, and you've written books, and like you're obviously like super passionate about
hair.
Definitely the best hair.
Yeah.
Definitely the best hair.
Funniest financial guy.
Yes, definitely. That too.
Just
we got it. Yeah, I get it. No.
Most disheartened after watching videos that Chris shows me.
Most disheartened
ADD.
after today. I've just like ruined Garrett in as far as the content creation world goes. But like, what is it that drives you in this space? Like, why do you spend so much time in this space? Like, why do you have so much passion in educating people about this?
Two phases of my life were so enriching because of this space. One is I started this study group way back in the day. I was in my early 20s. Like I might have been 22.
Okay.
And I got with three other, younger guys. They were in their early 30s.
Yep.
And our study group started to get like attention. People wanted to show up. So all of a sudden we couldn't host at our office.
Okay.
We had to get an amphitheater that held 185 people. And what I did is I became a better speaker by giving them my best practices. But what also happened is they brought me their best practices in attendance. Okay. And in a Chris Kirkpatrick style, not in sync Chris Kirkpatrick, but Life 180, I debated people during that. So I debated an attorney who told me, he stormed out of the room and told me that I was going to get sued because I said second to die was a losing proposition, and I could prove it, and his whole practice was second to die. Because when you have someone die and instead of getting a death benefit, you get a premium bill, there's a lot of opportunity cost to both of those things.
Totally.
And if you plan your estate properly, you're going to have a regular policy when you're wealthy, and you don't need to go buy second to die. It means that you had poor planning along the way, in my opinion. Yeah. So I debated an accountant and had him leave his firm and start his own accounting firm because I proved out that 401ks weren't tax advantaged. They were just tax deferred. And he really believed it was tax deductible. I know it seems
because illogical it's deductible when he's putting it on the tax. I mean, it's a deduction for that year. Yeah.
So I had all these advisors come and do joint work with me when I was a kid.
Okay.
Tell my parents once at a movie theater, like, this is the Tiger Woods of finance. But like everybody was giving me their best practices. They were bringing me clients or doing joint work. And it was really awesome. I just had my partners, though, in 2006 die in a plane crash, which meant I didn't have the ability to stay connected to that world. I had to, consolidate our offices and build it. Well, when I went to Caleb Williams' event last year, everybody in the room had read Killing Sacred Cows. Yeah. Everybody in the room said they had read What Would the Rockefellers Do? And then stood up and gave me an applause before I spoke. And I was like, this feels really good to know, like, I've got this audience that's using my content. And so I just felt really connected to the room. Yeah. And I also know there's a lot of, like, inside the box of insurance planning is a bad box. It's very limited, antiquated, frustrating, leading people to do old school things that don't lead to enough, income for them, enough benefit for their client. And so I look at what the industry's done for me is I have 27 whole life, 28 soon. I have one that's approved. I just need to
fund it.
I want to go on app for this one. You know, I'm like,
So now,
so,
can you pass the test?
I let my stuff lapse, but I'm in a corporate contract now. So
cool. Nice. Way to go.
Yeah, anyway, so when I look at these never fail me strategies with whole life, navigating me through 2008 and 2009, where everybody I knew declared bankruptcy that was over leveraged in real estate, and I didn't. Yeah. Looking at times where I was able to acquire a business, launch a book, do all these things because I had these policies and have this peace of mind. And like, even, in selling my business and doing these things, my wife has always been comfortable knowing we have 7 figures in cash value to see anything through. We don't have 3 months or 6 months of savings. We've got years of savings set aside inside of cash value. I bought this cabin with it. I launched Killing Sacred Cows and, I bought a business with it. So it's been, I paid cash for the new book.
Oh, okay.
But
all right. Well, hey.
I didn't use my cash value.
All right. Good for you.
My new book was $350,000. So like, that's the level I play at with, because that's my assets is a book, because of design and distribution and all that kind of stuff. But so this industry means something, because I see the videos we watch today of people giving egregiously bad advice, and that leads to divorce. That leads to people feeling guilty forever because of what they've done to their family by taking this terrible advice that they didn't know any different. And all of a sudden that leads to, they get to retirement or retirement age, and they're like, I've made such mistakes. I now have to do work when I'm really exhausted and really frustrated and feel like a failure. And that feeling of failure moves down from generation to generation, passed on as a legacy of losing instead of a legacy of, I did the work, I made good financial decisions, and look how I blessed my family's life that we could finally do all the things that we waited to do, like go on trips and enjoy each other and have, like, I don't believe in deferring and sacrificing. I believe in enjoying life along the way. I believe in cash flow over accumulation. I believe in mitigating risk rather than taking it. I believe in investing in myself instead of putting my money in a portfolio I don't control. And most people in the financial world are being trained, taught, and indoctrinated to put people in risky propositions, in losing games, and ultimately to sacrifice their entire 30 years to find out when they finally get to that time that it's supposed to be so great, it sucks, because now they can't tap into their principal because they're living interest only. That's underfunded everything that they did. And worse, they're in an IUL that's going to lapse, and they're going to get a tax bill, and now they're going to get a divorce
to boot.
So, so I want to help. I love that financial advisors were buying What the Rockefellers doing. I'm like, this is amazing. They buy like 500 copies a week on Amazon. Then you show me they're selling IUL with it. I'm like, now I have to rewrite the book and call these people out. Yeah. This person on this video, they kept saying, this is how the wealthy get wealthy and stay that way. They were literally saying the subtitle over and over again. And I was like, no, I have to. Oh. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And if you're enjoying these videos, well, there's good news. More where that came from. So go ahead and click through and watch the next video now.